Okay, better late than never. Apologies. I must admit, I'm not the most technological person in the world, but I did get there. I landed on the moon as such, so I do apologise. Red Pill Phil on a nice live stream with the lady under caution, I must admit, got the yellow card. She's been given the riot act. She steps out of line on my channel again. That's it.
You should never say things like that, Phil, because you know that's a red rag to a bull.
See, even when I've just issued a caution, she's starting. So I can see this is going to be a very fruity live stream. I've just got this feeling.
It'll be an interesting one tonight.
Yep, it will indeed. Well, if this lady don't need any introduction, the lady that apparently I'm like that, you know, I got shown that at one of the last the Tommy, yeah, Speaker's Corner. A lady, a lovely lady, come up to him and went, "Tony has got you there," and just done that. So that's what I thought, right?
You go, no, Sheldon.
Oh, I thought, I'll invite Toni back, but I've got to let her know that this has got.
I'll wear the trousers here. No, that's me telling you, Phil.
No, see, this is what happens. I'm getting muscled in on it already, guys. So if you didn't know, this is Toni Bugle, the Baroness of emotional blackmail. It tends to work all the time on me for some reason. You hit my sensitive spots, you do, Toni, I tell you. But yeah. The Baroness herself, Toni Bugle, the founder of Maria's, which is Mothers Against Radical Islam and Sharia. We've decided to have a little chat tonight discussing various events. So I'd like to give you a big official hello, Toni. Remember, you're under caution. So whatever you say now will be written down and used against you.
Okay. You see, I'm going to sit here and be really well behaved now and prove that I'm actually quite angelic and that you're the troublemaker.
Right. Reverse psychology. I get that. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to have to be very careful now. So how are you doing anyway, Toni? You okay?
I'm all right. I've had a busy week. Very, very busy week. Very hard couple of weeks, actually. Which I can't go into, as you know. There's certain things I do that I can't go into. But yeah, it's been a really long and arduous week for me. And I also had another young lady contact me a couple of days ago, who was one of the girls from Telford. And funnily enough, the reason it jumped into my head is because I just happened to spot an article that was written on the 18th of March, 2018. Where it says, lines of sicko, men queued down the stairs to take turns raping Telford grooming victim. And it reminded me of something that Richard had said as well, where they say grooming victim, but these are rape victims. You know, if you think about it, grooming is getting your nails done, having your hair done, you know, maybe going and having a shampoo and set as you would need on your head. So the word grooming, although I understand what the word grooming means, I know it means using nice things to garner that girl's support.
Over a period of time rather than just a one event. Yeah.
But in truth, they really go in for it very, very quickly. You know, the grooming takes place relatively quickly in comparison to some men who will groom for even a year, in my case, several years before they act on it. These men go for maybe a few weeks, few months of playing on these girls' vulnerabilities, playing on these girls' emotional things, you know, and a lot of people have this image of a vulnerable girl, meaning a girl who comes from a really difficult background, a girl who's got major issues with this, major issues with that. And that isn't always the case. Sometimes it's just that they're girls that are lonely. They could come from very well-to-do families, but they might be an only child, and you know they get the best that money can buy, and other kids dislike them for that, so they become slightly isolated. A vulnerable child doesn't always mean they come from a council estate with parents who are drug addicts and alcoholics. And I know this because a lot of the girls that I've dealt with don't come from those kind of backgrounds. They come from very ordinary working class backgrounds. And then when you read what these men do, and when you listen to these girls and you listen to what they're telling you, and you hear them say, I told the police didn't believe me. I said this to the police called me a liar. I said this, and the police went to my family and said, well, she's a known prostitute, she'll grow out of it. She was 14 years old when that happened. You know, you can't be a prostitute at the age of 14. You can be pimped out by a dirty, filthy nonce, but you don't prostitute yourself out at 14 years of age. You're a child. Mm. And that's when I want you to, because this was something you haven't seen, I mentioned it very briefly, was I'm beginning to wonder if there's not a pattern here, because I then see today a pervert policeman who downloaded more than 1,600 indecent images is spared jail. Now, notice that they call him a pervert policeman. Well, I would have said viewing images of children, pornographic images of children. First of all, where did they come from? And these were images of category A, which is the most extreme abuse. Do you know what I mean? Why is he walk free? Why is this man walk free? It makes no sense to me. Now, it does make you wonder if half of these coppers that aren't, there are a lot of good coppers out there and they're doing their job and they're doing their job well. But there seems to be this pattern of almost systematic abuse within the police force itself. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder whether, if you can do that job where you're having to handle really sensitive images of children, it's a bit like, I'm just thinking out loud, I'm not actually saying it's how it is, but it makes you wonder, would it be like somebody who watches porn every single day, the same porn movie? That's not enough, so they watch something a little bit more extreme. They watch that every day for a month. That's not enough, so they go until it becomes, and then eventually they are completely desensitized to it, and only the extreme level will satisfy their need.
Well, I think that's not always a matter okay, no, Toni?
Say that again.
I'm just getting but yeah, no, I'd like to think that's not the case, because even if you're in that job, I mean, I'd like to think that at some point you're not going to get aroused by it. If anything, it's going to go the other way.
Well, you would think, but I mean, it was just a thought that went through my head. I thought, you know, not because I want to understand him. I want to see him slammed up in prison for life, and I want life to mean life. I'm sick of life not meaning life. You know, I'm really tired of that.
It's not more the point that maybe people in these positions of power, because they've said it about social workers and other people who've got positions where they work with children. You know, the allegation's been put that, you know, foster care, you know, where abuse goes on, where people seem to gravitate if they like that sort of thing, which I can't imagine anyone would, but it obviously does go on, that there's certain professions that they gravitate towards, and it's facilitated quite easy within that profession to kind of fulfill your urge, let's say, or it's you know, it's allowed a little bit easier. You know, I mean, it wasn't long ago that I was
joining the police force to access this kind of material. This is the thing. There is no one answer, is there?
No, because we know it goes on, but I can't see anyone who is of normal leaning when it comes to sexual bias, let's say, that then would, over a period of years, be turned into paedophilic kind of viewings, you know, where he wants to kind of view that and he finds that lustful and arousing. I can't see that. It makes more sense that you've got that in your locker already and you've kind of chose that profession because, or, you know, you've worked your way up to that profession because you've maybe turned the other way because other people are doing it. And then you've kind of got in the gang. I mean, the reason why I say that, Toni, is because it wasn't this long ago that I uploaded a video that I'd been sent a link to. And I couldn't believe what they were telling me, even though I knew it existed and we know it exists. And it was basically this lady that had a tape recording of a whistleblower, a policeman who was quite high up in the Met. And he was relaying it all, yeah? And she's basically saying on this video, it was only an audio clip. She's like, share it, share it. And what he's detailing is shocking. It was an eyes wide shut scenario where you've got the super elite, the high end echelons of whether it be police, the judicial system, and not so much in this clip, but you have in other stories where maybe parts of the monarchy, you know, politics, it runs right through the lot of them.
Look, pedophiles and rapists come in every shape, every size, every creation. There is no one specific type of person that is a paedophile or a rapist. A rich man can be a rapist, a poor man can be a rapist, a woman can be a child abuser, sexual abuser. A woman can't actually legally be charged with rape, and yet is capable of doing things that equal any man raping her. You know, raping a child. But there isn't, I don't believe there's actually a thing as being, you can't be found guilty of rape because you don't have a penis, therefore you can't penetrate. Which is ridiculous to me, because some of these women, what they do is no different to rape. And I know that from my own experience. But I sit there sometimes and I think, and also with paedophilia and rape, a lot of this is about control. Very little of this is about sexual pleasure. The pleasure comes from the domination, from the control. Yeah. And being able to control your victim, especially with fear. Yeah. So when we look at these gangs that are operating, and as I said to you, 70 plus towns now and cities and areas, mostly in England, but all over the United Kingdom, but predominantly in England. And the one thing I wanted to sort of approach with you as well was the whole, we can't say it's Muslim grooming gangs. Well, I can, I will, and I insist on doing so. I'm not going to dress it up into something fancy. And I said to you, if this was a black guy, I'd have no issue saying black man raped a white girl. If it was a white guy raped a black girl, I'd have no issue saying that. So why is it when it comes to Muslims, everyone wants to call them Asian?
They want to use the race to stop avoiding detection, I guess. I mean, we were saying it before on the phone. Imagine on your street corner, you found out that there was a paedophile living in the end of your street, and you knew it, you know, and knowing how people feel about such crimes, it evokes certain emotions. So before you know it, the pitchfork brigade are out there. Now, at that time that they know, they're not bothered. They're not interested what colour that person is. That colour has no reference to how severe you're going to beat the guy up or do what they're doing. You know, vigilantes, I'm not saying it's right, but this is what would happen because it's the most repulsive kind of crime you can do to children, you know? So for me, when you're talking about grooming gangs, we're only talking about the same thing. We're talking about something that is repulsive. Now, the one elephant in the room that these people who tend to castigate you because you want to talk about this, they seem to forget that the stats when it comes to grooming gangs say, you know, speaks for itself. The data is there. So if the data's there, that means you can talk about it. I can just be as repulsed with Pakistani grooming gangs as I can with a black guy that lives at the end of the street that likes feeling girls, as I can do with a white guy living at the end of the street who likes knocking about outside school playgrounds. It's all one and the same. But because of the subject matter, they're trying to use a different veil to say, no, you can't. And if you do talk about that, then you're deemed A, B, and C. And the Telford, I mean, when you sent me that original link, which was a link to the Sunday paper, I do believe, I could not believe this was going back from the 80s. So because political correctness has been in place for that long, it's enabled it to carry on.
Interesting about that. And before I say anything, there's somebody on there, you know, says white grooming gangs as well. Believe you me, like I said, that when I do that march, I intend to tackle BBC paedophiles. I don't care what paedophile you are, but there is a huge difference between the way a Muslim grooming gang operates They pass them between uncles, brothers, cousins. Most paedophiles and rapists are opportunists, or they will target any child. They don't care if that child is white, black, or grey. They couldn't care less. The child is a child is a child. These men started off targeting Sikh girls and then moved on to targeting predominantly white girls. But I found something really interesting today was that, do you know Sharia law courts started operating in this country in the 80s?
No, I would not have known that.
Which would be around the same sort of period as these grooming gangs, which makes me wonder, is there a link there? Because we know that you've got this mentality of imams that have been coming in abroad and saying, you know, white girls are slags, white girls are whore. We know this is being taught within the Pakistani community. Some of the most amazing Muslim women that I speak to and that are my personal friends have said this is what men are told. White girls aren't slags. They are whores. They are trash. They're easy. They're up for it. They want it. They're gagging for it. There was even one of the youngest children from Telford, I think it was Telford, was 11 years old, Phil.
Same age as my youngest daughter.
And she got pregnant. And neither the teachers, the police, the social services, nobody did a damn thing about it. How the hell? Could you imagine if your 11-year-old daughter, I mean, I've got a daughter. If my daughter had come home and I'd known at 11 years old she was pregnant, you're damn right I'm going to be asking some questions. I want to know what the hell's been going on. And I'm going to know it's not my daughter being some little slag. It's some dirty little nonce who's raped her. But they did nothing. They did nothing. And my brain cannot compute this. My brain doesn't understand it.
But this, I mean, fast forward this now. Because we've had nearly 40 years of it, that is it not hard to understand why people are pissed at this moment in time? It's not hard to understand why you're getting undertones of people who are edging towards the far right, because this has been going on. You know, Sharia courts have been here. I mean, for me, to have Sharia courts here for that length of time means that we give up our sovereignty and our judicial system a long, long time ago. So God knows what's been going on, and all the pillars of powers that have just been, you know, disintegrating, but then reformed in a way that we've not realised, very stealth-like. So we're so far down the bloody rabbit hole here, is what you're really saying, Toni, is that it's scary to even contemplate that.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder whether we are far enough down it that we can't get back out. But the other thing is, which brings us to Hyde Park as Speaker's Corner, where we were talking about the different videos that we've both seen, we both shared between us, and we'd seen, I think there was two incidents of guys, one white guy in particular who had lashed out at a Muslim. But absolutely, you can see from the video, from what I can see, there was absolutely no rhyme or reason. There was absolutely no need for that whatsoever.
Well, can I just stop you there, Toni? Just for the fact that, just to let people know, this was the reason why I uploaded, I think it was 3 new clips today. One, to inform people, 2, to give both sides of the coin, but 3, to give people the option that to view the clip. Instead of leaving the link and you watch it later, you can actually pause this stream or come out of it, do whatever, and go and watch that clip. Now, that clip that Toni's talking about is under the name, Do We Need People Like This Who Are Prepared in This Way? Well, prepared to do what he done in this way, basically. But going back to what you're saying, Toni, sorry, if you was to carry on, I just needed to say that.
We've got this one guy who's lashed out. And from what we can see, there was no provocation that was visible at all. Now, obviously, I did try to listen to what was being said. It was very difficult to pick up what was being said. There could have been things being said that was totally unacceptable for all we know. Not excusable to use violence, because that was supposed to be about free speech and nothing else. But when you've got these rape gangs operating the way that they're operating, targeting these young girls, and these young girls have been predominantly white. Like I said, there were Sikh girls targeted. I don't think that Sikh girls are being targeted anymore right now. But white girls are still being targeted. It's still happening every single day, every day. And it's relentless. It's not stopping. They are becoming, if anything, more and more and more brave, because they know they're not serving real sentences. They're getting a slap on the wrist. Most of them are walking away. I mean, there was one guy who's he's had his sentence cut down to a ridiculous amount. He'll be out in less than 5.
Yeah.
And my brain's going, why are we letting these? And I do know we have about 600 places, roughly, about 600 places left in our prisons.
What, till they're totally all full of capacity, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And this is why I can't understand, why are we putting people, for perfect example, Pug Guy, who did the gas dejuicings with the pug dog. Now, I can remember Freddie Starr coming on doing his comedy sketches, wearing an Adolf Hitler outfit, during a period when my grandfather would have watched it and he found him hysterical. When John Cleese was doing his Nazi walk, these comedians will be arrested nowadays.
Yeah.
I did something, whether it was in a poor taste joke is irrelevant. It was still just a joke. The meaning was in a joke. Nobody complained, etc., etc., etc. Now, if they put him in prison, why are we putting guys like that in prison, but we're letting paedophiles serve 5 years?
It's twisted. It's twisted. It's like they're doing one thing but saying another. I mean, I'll be totally honest with you, Toni. Not that I agree with people's stance, but I will say, I think people have got the right to say, you know what, I admire Adolf Hitler. I think people have got the right to say, not that I agree with any of this.
No, I don't agree with it, but
you know, we've got to have people, if you like, it's just like saying you've all got to like one pie or you've all got to get on the same bus. I mean, you have differences. People have got variations in what they do and what they think. So you've got to allow people that. And I know by saying that, sometimes that can create some social issues, but people are people. You cannot suppress people, because we know by suppressing people, you get the Streisand effect. So you can't suppress people's thoughts. If people wanted, this was another thing that a video that I filmed in Speaker's Corner, where there was a guy, when I asked him about limits on freedom of speech, isn't that a contradiction in terms? The first thing he said to me was, well, why don't you go out on the street and say you love Hitler? Why don't you go out on the street and say gas the Jews? If I'm going to be honest with you, I think someone else got the right to say it. But at the same time, I've got the right to say you're talking bollocks and walk away.
You have the right to be offended.
Yeah.
But I have a right to an opinion that you may find offensive. You don't have to agree with it. And if someone's not going to go out and act out on something, i.e., I don't know, say for it, because I don't have that opinion. But if I said, oh, let's go and gas the Jews, now unless I actually go out and do it, just because that would be my opinion, and I'm not going to act on it or do anything, or I tell a bad joke, a really poor joke in really poor taste. Well, do you know what? I can be offended by somebody's I've heard some really diabolical jokes in my time that I find really offensive towards women. But I have every right to go, excuse my language, but I don't want to stand next to you. I don't want to talk to you. Go away. But I'm not going to get nicked because he's told a really crap joke and it's gone down the line of being way over the top and out of line. It's disrespectful, but I can be offended. People need to learn that being offended doesn't kill you.
You have to get on with it.
You might get a bit upset. You might have a little ticker.
This is where it's strange, because I'm a 70s kid, and the 70s was quite hardcore in so many different ways. You know, from the playground all the way up to everyday life. So you had to get on with it. You didn't have that facility of having crayons and bloody teddy bears to hug. You had to get over it quickly, wipe yourself over, pull your socks up, all them bloody little cliche lines that used to come out, and just get on with it. And you will learn from these incidents. You might learn how to speak to people, how not to speak to people, who to speak to, when not. You know, they're all patterns. Now they're taking them facilities away from us by trying to force people. I mean, the one thing, Toni, if you had real them thoughts I've just described to you, if I was to tell you you're not allowed to have them thoughts, are you going to stop having them thoughts?
Thoughts are still in your head. It's just nobody knows you're having them.
I know. So then everything's going to be driven underground. It's, you know.
I mean, you know, maybe they'll bring out a machine that can actually tap into your brain. Do you know what I mean? And actually start seeing what you're thinking. So
call it Google, Facebook, mobile phones. Pretty much all of them are doing pretty much that job.
That doesn't tap into your thoughts. That only taps into your ideas.
Yes, yes, very true.
See, my dad always had a thing when we were kids.
But can I just say, getting back onto that, is that these are devices, but these are devices that are getting people in trouble because people are articulating their thoughts through these devices. So in a way, you know, they might as well be your brain because it's like hooked up to your brain and people are just throwing it out there.
Yeah, you know, and this is what I was saying. My dad always had this saying. My dad was a very, very clever man. And he always said things that sort of stayed with me. And I remember him saying to me, oh, look at that. So Toni Bugle, you've got trouble. Thanks. As you can see, bothered. Faced by that comment. But my dad always said, you know, when I was at school, I had one particular teacher that really did not like me. And I got into trouble with her and I called her a rather unpleasant name. And I got home from school and I got right, Julie bollocking off the old man.
Right.
And I also got, unfortunately, grounded and a good idea. Rightly so. And he said to me, when you go to school, if that teacher's an arsehole, you can think it in there, don't let it out there. You can sit there and you can think you're the biggest tosspot on two legs and I hate you, but don't let it out your mouth. And it's true. And it's a bit like people get onto Facebook, they go onto social media, and whether we like it or not, people type their entire thoughts out. Whereas sometimes you have to learn. I've got my freedom of thought, and that's something that can't be taken away from me. Freedom of speech is something entirely different. So sometimes how you word it, it's not what you're saying, it's how you say it. You can say whatever you want to say, but if you're going to go down the route of using words like marshmallow, ragged, those kind of things, you actually make yourself look a little bit stupid. And I actually think these people who do this are far more intelligent, but they're angry. And I get why they're angry. I understand why they're angry. You've only got to look at Hyde Park. Considering there must have been a good 2,000 people there. I think the fact that there was just that one incident with that guy that I saw, but then you had the other guy with the Muslim guy with the stick, who, little did I know, he'd actually caught a woman in the face prior to that actually flaring up.
I tell you what, when I did see that footage with him, that stick, that was some force that he propelled that stick forward. And he's a big guy as well. So he, you know, you just think of the damage that he could have done on what probably did do on that day. But going back to that clip, Toni, talking about the anger and the frustration that's going on. But there is no room for that, as we both know. No matter what had gone on before he decided to do that, it just looked like the Muslim chap, which for the sake of it, I'm not saying this out of mocking him, and I actually said this to you, Toni, to me, he just looked like Kid Creole. Because he had the same kind of look as Kid Creole and the Coconuts with the hat and the suit and looking quite daft. And I don't see what had happened for that guy to get a lick the way he did. Yeah. You know, he'd come across someone that he was talking to that had run out of patience and got frustrated. And that frustration spilled over into a punch. And the worst scenario was he'd done it in a debate format where that was all about just one-on-one debate. There was a police lady stood about 3-4 yards at the back. You know, there was all kinds of people. You seen their reaction when he actually connected with the guy. They were disgusted. They were shocked because I'm sure that goes on there, but there just seemed a lack of respect and etiquette, no matter who you're talking to, no matter whether you like their opinions or not.
He got smacked in the face by the guy with the walking stick. Now, apparently, you know, that somebody said they saw him wandering off quite well without his walking stick prior to him whacking the old bill.
Right.
So it makes you wonder if that was actually a weapon.
Well, possibly could be.
I mean,
possibly could be. Well, the other video that I put up, which was under the name Uncle Omar, this is all on the channel, which that's the guy you're referring to, the walking stick guy. He's called Omar, apparently. He's quite a radical geezer from what I've been told.
As well, that had the flag pole that was flashing it out into the crowd. He's got some very extreme views.
There was a lot there. I mean, the guy in the initial clip, the first clip, the clip where he had his skull cap on and he was a big guy, and he was talking to what was another Muslim, but he was Shia. Now, you've got Sunni and Shia. The big guy, the one who's seen being violent in other parts of the day, you could tell from the word go, one, his debating skills, he wasn't about debating. He wanted to bully and he wanted to intimidate that Shia. Now, that Shia guy was a lot smaller in frame and stature, but he stood his ground. He basically called him a terrorist, and he itemized why he felt he was a terrorist. He went into his phone and he's gone, well, you've agreed with this post, you've agreed with that post. So basically, because it's like something like killing children or this, that, and the other, you're a terrorist. And then it seemed that once he did prove his point that he might be a terrorist in front of everyone, do you notice what happened in that clip? He went all fascist. And then it had to kick off then, because there was no way that he could actually come back and be on top of that conversation at that point for me.
I tell you what I did love watching your videos.
Right.
Was, the way that you see, what I love about Phil, for all of you out there, is he agrees with me. There isn't a one-way street with racism. It works both ways. And the guy had made a comment that was racist. There's no other way of describing it. It was racism. And I think he thought because he was stood next to you, you wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
And I just heard, it was a bit like when a copper got hit there, and I heard you call him a few swear words, and I was like, that's how Phil. I mean, none of this.
I know.
None of this. But you called him out on it. Mm. You know, you called him out on his racism, and you said, you know, racism is racism is racism. They don't like that. No. Because they want it to be one way.
Well, it was so hypocritical. He's calling a bunch of guys a load of hooligans and drunks and white boys. But basically, he's saying that out of anger because he believes everyone who's there is calling all Muslims, because he actually said that to me. But yet you're going to stand there and call all white boys hooligans and frigging, you know, it's like two wrongs don't make a right, dude. So how can you validate your argument by then acting exactly the same way, you frigging muppet? And I just...
Because it's acceptable to say it to someone who happens to have my skin colour. That's
and that's what he was relying on, because
to say it to someone who has your skin colour, perfectly acceptable when I get people come on and say, you know, you're white slag or you're white, dirty white tramp, and all those kind of comments. Perfectly acceptable, because apparently you can't be racist towards white people because apparently we're born racist. We don't. You know, we come out of our mother's womb, and the first thing we do is we shade the M word and the P word because we're born racist. And he's such a crock of shit.
Yeah.
He really.
He's just old. He's just really old. And after that little chat with him, he realised that, one, he was out of order. I mean, I don't know whether it was the way I'd done it or what the scenario was, but he calmed right down. And then we could talk. And if he would have done that first of all, you know, because I know that in reality, no matter what his beliefs are, I guarantee I'd be able to sit and have a 10-minute conversation with him. We'd probably get on a lot of different issues. But with this, it just totally puts you down the line where they're prepared to smack you with sticks and whatever because of this.
Did he see reason? Or did he see that he wasn't going to get anywhere with you?
Well, he probably seen he wasn't going to get anywhere with me. And then he realised intimidation was certainly not going to get anywhere with me. I don't boast to be the hardest man on earth at all, because I don't, if people, anyone was around me when that was going on, will know that all I was doing was holding my selfie stick up because I was trying to film Tommy over the fence, as it were. My body language didn't change.
You'll be having given a Nazi salute. You guys sticking your arms up.
Yeah, it's a double one.
You have that lovely little chap who wants to get the station shut down. He'll be classing you as a Nazi now. And like I said, we won't make a big deal, but we'll take the piss a little bit. We won't even mention his name because there's just no point.
No, well, I mean, that, all right, well, let's move off from that. Let's move on to something that I'm going to let you lead with, Tony, because it was you that sent me the link the other day regarding a tweet. So off you go.
Yeah, I think I've still got the tweet in here, actually. Let me just have a look in my magical phone. Because our phone is very magical, you know. It's got so much in it that I'm surprised it hasn't shut down on me yet. I think in here somewhere I've got the screenshot, the exact one that I sent to you. But it was basically Ali Dawah had retweeted somebody slagging you off and wanting your YouTube channel targeted and shut down.
Yep. Well, let me read, because I've written it down what it actually said.
Are you ready? I found it.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
There is a guy on YouTube calling himself redpillphil. He is best friends with Tommy Robinson and is a known Islamophobe. Let's take you off the platforms, report his channel for hatred and discrimination. Thanks.
No, yeah. Cheers, bud. Yeah.
Thumbs up, Phil.
And so, by the way, leave the key under the doormat. It's like what? That's just like, do me a favour.
That was by Left Wing Revolt, which is connected to Resisting Hate, which is connected to Hope Not Hate, which is connected to Stand Up to Racism, which is connected to... And Ali Dawah was there giving it, yeah, we'll give it some of that. Yeah, we'll have some of that. I'm sitting there thinking, do you even know what you've just done? You complete moron. So... And that was what I said to you. What is it about people in Hyde Park who I'm not talking about the average Muslim who didn't turn up there that day, who just went about their everyday business, but those that turn up against free speech, wanting to shut down free speech by using free speech. Well, it's really very simple. If you don't want to hear what people are saying in Speaker's Corner, the home and the birthplace of free speech, don't go there. Then your feelings can't get hurt. But if you're going to go there and 2,000 people are going to turn up because they want to support free speech, rightly so. And again, I sent you the video of Katie Hopkins. Katie Hopkins was kicked. She had awful sexual insults thrown at her, and comments about her looks. And she was surrounded. It was not like there was a couple challenging her. She was surrounded. They were like a pack of wild animals.
Yep.
And that was an intimidation tactic.
I've never seen so many people acting in such a non-sympathetic way towards any human being. And like you say, the fact that it was Speaker's Corner is the very place where you know you're going to hear opinions that you're not going to always agree with. So you've got to get your head round that. It's like if you know you go into a swimming bath, you know you're going to get wet. So it's like they want to go to the swimming baths, but they don't want to get wet. And it's like the two things, you've got to have them both together, you know. But I've never seen such a collation of people just so fascist is the way. Fascists come out of the woodwork, but they were fascist of all different colours, which, to be fair, all I've witnessed going on marches is fascist of the Red Brigade, you know, the commie type, the kind of student-y kind of, you know, white type. Now, it was a big shock to me to see what was going on at Speaker's Corner. there was many Muslims there just going about the business, doing what they were doing. There were prayer mats, there were people kneeling down, there was no one giving them any grief in any way. So there was tolerance there. It wasn't intolerance. But the amount of intolerance that was coming from certain people within that Muslim community there, when in reality, all we were there for was freedom of speech. Now, I don't think their gripe was because we wanted freedom of speech. I think their gripe was they could not help but conflate this issue with racism. We're all here because Tommy Robinson's here. Tommy Robinson's far right, so we're a load of wrong'uns.
I think they can. I do. I genuinely think they can. I think they know full well it has nothing to do with racism. I think that they scream racism because they know they think it shut down the debate. It's going to shut down free speech. And all it's actually doing is fueling that fire of people fighting for their free speech. And if they continue down that road, of course they're going to see lashing out from people who are sick and tired of it. I don't know how many children we've got to see raped. How many more women have we got to see abused by Sharia law in this country? How many Muslim women have got to endure child marriage when they're young? And it's happening in this country. Female genital mutilation every 90 minutes in this country. I think there was hospitals in West Midlands, 600 cases in 6 months. How much of that is supposed to go on before people go, do you know what? I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not holding my temper back. I'm angry.
It's people.
I'd be the wrong person, I'm sure.
Oh, well, it's the vulnerable people that'll get it, Tony, and that's always the way in scenarios like this. It's the weaker people, you know, the people who they know they can get one over on. It's just, I mean, like you say, the way they turned on Cater, for them to do that, no matter what your opinion, you could tell they were only doing that, one, because she's a female, so she's outnumbered, and they'll be able to strength her quite easy. And I haven't seen the clip, but I've heard the audio. And it's nothing short of bullying and intimidation on any woman. Don't matter what her values are and what she's all about. She did not deserve that, you know. It's just totally out of order. But it shows their lack of respect and common decency for people who are non-Muslim. Now, when I say that, I am talking about a percentage of the Muslim contingent that was there. I am not talking about all Muslims, because that would be highly ignorant to say that. But we have to keep doing this because they keep dealing the race card, and then we have to keep taking the race card back out and putting it back on the bloody deck. It seems like a game of Chase the Ace here. I don't know if you've ever played that game. Where you have the ace, and it's like, I've got to get rid of this ace, and this ace is the freaking race card. And it's like, I don't want it. But you're having it. I don't want it. And you have to keep justifying your position all the time.
Well, we've said that we've found ourselves having to continuously, because I said to you, go back 10, 15 years ago, you'd have just been my mate Phil. And that would have been it. But we've had to have so many conversations because I happen to be a white woman. You happen to be a dude that has this sort of like coffee-coloured skin. I mean, it's just a really good tan. I don't think he's actually mixed race at all. I think he's just been on the sunbeds too long.
Can't help it. I've got the Benidorm look.
He has got the Benidorm look, and he's got the mobility scooter to go with it as well.
I'll need it. I tell you what. Yeah, definitely.
But we found ourselves having to have this conversation over and over, and actually highlighting the fact that you people that are screaming racist at me, although their favourite word for me tends to be Nazi.
It's an easy one. Which we could say again, you know, with words that have got currency in it. And we spoke about this before, you know, I mean, like I say, I mean, for anyone to put out this propaganda that redpillphil is a racist and a, you know, Islamophobe. You know, I'm best friends with Tommy Robinson. I've spoke to Tommy Robinson on 3 occasions that were all in public. They were being filmed.
You mean you're not around his house having a beer?
You think? Well, he's actually next door. He's putting the kettle on for me.
You know, that's what the tweet said, so it must be true.
It must be. He's coming round in a bit. I've told him to bring a pizza round. It's about time he sorted me out because I'm sick of sorting him out.
No, I can't say Chinese takeaway. They'll have me down as being Chinese.
This is how silly they are. They just...
It is. It's absolutely insane. And what they're really saying as well is that, well, see, it doesn't matter whether people like Tommy Robinson, don't like Tommy Robinson, agree with Tommy Robinson, disagree with Tommy. It's neither in or there. It's irrelevant. The fact is, he has a right to his freedom of speech, just as you have, just as I have. Whether people agree with what he's saying or not is not the point. There are lots of imams out there preaching that female genital mutilation, like Hatham al-Haddad, who believes there is a correct way of performing female genital mutilation. Well, I say, bullshit. No, there isn't. And their idea of dealing with this issue is a parent who's going out to a country where FGM is rife, and as a very young daughter, has been made to sign a form to say she won't do it.
That'll work.
That's not that bit of ink, you know. I mean, I know they say the penny's mightier than the sword, but that is taking the piss. You know what I mean? That is serious. That was quite quick for me, wasn't it?
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
It's insane. Sign a form. She won't mutilate her daughter now. It's happening here.
Yeah.
We've not had one prosecution for it. Not one. In this country, not one person has been prosecuted for that.
But these are the same judges that possibly are getting caught up in paedophilic rings. And not to say that, oh, Phil has just said, oh, judges. I'm not. Because within the police force, just like within the, you know, the judges, the judicial system, there will be a percentage of people that are proper wrong-uns, but for some reason can put a really good face on it and got such a high position of power that they are allowed to get away with it, and things are quite easily swept under the carpet. However, there will be a small contingent within that, or maybe a large contingent, that know that if they want to keep the job, if they want to kind of retire with a nice pension, or if they don't want like a gross misconduct charge, you've got to toe the line. So a lot of it is, you know, like this guy was referring to in this video, going back to this audio that this Met Copper, it was rife. It was that rife that his superior actually said to him, mate, we're all left. If you bring this out, we're all left, because this goes right up to the top. So it'll be you, it'll be me, it'll be everyone else. And then once that initial warning, shot warning was fired, let's say, that then he become the target. And he said something like there was 7 charges. Each of them charges could have held up to 2 years in prison that were laid on him, what he feels, because he decided to whistleblow.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's unsurprising what you're telling me.
I'm just looking at the comments carp here, and I just want to make something very, very clear from my point of view with some guy that says, oh, mutilate little boys, and that's fine. So I want to make something very clear from my perspective. I actually don't agree with little boys being circumcised for religious reasons at all. I don't agree with it. I do completely condemn it. I think
you didn't say you did, though, to be fair, Toni.
No, I never said I did, but of course, straight away, I get this all the time because I bring up FGM. People want to come in with the male circumcision. I don't agree with that. Little babies, unless it's for medical reasons. I know that Americans do it. That's in America. I can't change America. I just don't agree with it on religious grounds. That's my opinion. So for whoever coming up that's saying now, oh, she won't mention that. Well, actually, yes, she will. So you won't. Challenge my opinions, you're going to get it. You may not agree with it, don't really give a shit.
Well, I mean, you could go further with that. I mean, no one really should agree with changing any bodily function on a baby or any human being unless it's absolutely necessary.
For medical reasons.
Like plastic surgery or whatever, you know, it has to happen. Yeah, you know, I want a better life for my baby. So if that means that that's got to happen in order for that to happen, then yeah. Not just because, you know what, it says it in a book that 3,000 years ago that this is what they kind of done back then, so I've got to do it in order to be in that club. I just don't get that. And I'm not categorising or castigating any religion by doing that. I just don't believe that.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to that, same as I'm entitled to mine, then that's just how it is. And I also think that I had an email, it's be about 3 or 4 years ago now, from a pretty extreme Muslim woman, actually, who tried to compare mutilating a little girl with a woman choosing as an adult to have a designer vagina. Now, me, quite frankly, any woman that wants to take a scalpel to a vagina needs a red testing. You know, it's a very fragile little flower down there. Leave your Daisy Doo-Wop alone. Do you know what I mean? Stop messing with it. That's my opinion. But she's also an adult. She can make that decision for herself. He's got a bit of the giggles now.
I just love the way you leave your days. I love that. I love that. It's a great line. And then you carried on like that wasn't even funny. Like no one's supposed to respond to that. It's like what?
Well, maybe that's because I call it a Daisy Doo-Wop all the time.
Right. It's the first time I've heard that one, so I'm sorry you were getting a reaction.
Mum does all the time. She's on the phone to me. She'll hang on now. I've got to dab me Daisy is what she says. In other words, when she goes to the toilet, she goes, I've got to go and dab me Daisy.
Why is it with women it's a lovely fragrant similarity, but with men it'll have a nasty connotation?
Because yours looks like an angry one-eyed. Come on now. And I mean, like, look, girls are made of sugar and spice and all things nice. It goes from the poem as children. Boys were made of snips and snails and puppy dog tails. Do you not remember that?
Is that a direct question? Have we got an answer to that?
That poem.
I'm going to plead the fifth on here from now on.
In other words, he's old enough to remember it. Don't be so bad these boyish good looks, mate. Because I know how old he really is.
Yeah, dig me out with flattery, why don't you? Yeah. All right, nice one. Remember, you're on the yellow. You're on the yellow.
I know, but he is on Facebook.
You won that one. I tell you. See what I've got to put up with, guys? Even after a severe reprimand, I'm still getting it. So if honestly, I better not get any more of them little finger gestures. I better not, because
the best thing was I got messages to say, "Oh, I saw Red Pill Phil." They messaged me and go, "Oh, I saw Red Pill Phil." See, oh yeah, saw him on Sunday. You got him wrapped right around your little. And I went, "No, trust me, that man. He's written on one of your posts. I went, trust me, that man's capable of thinking for himself." She went, No. She said, and I told him that.
Oh, so it's the same lady, right?
No, it was couple actually, and a couple of guys.
Yeah, it's there to be had, isn't it? What can I say?
They went, "Oh, you've got that red pill exactly where you want him."
I'm a chivalrous guy. I really am. But it doesn't stop me pulling out the red card.
You're a chivalrous guy, admittedly, but also it's going to cost you a lot of money to your daughter. He's got the red cards there. Really.
I haven't got a red card, but I'm going to have to show that as a red card.
You know visions of him? Next time we come on, he's going to have little cards made, and he's just going to be like that.
Yeah. I'm going to have like a 1 to 5. And then when you come out with something, you're going to have an approval rating. And then I'll just put the cards up. And then if you get over a certain number, then there's going to have to be some kind of forfeit, Toni.
Yeah, the big guns. And as you can see, I'm terrified.
It's like... See, this is brazen. This is blatant. This is bordering soft intimidation, this, Toni.
It's not soft, love. It just gets worse from here, though.
Right. I need help, guys. I need help in the comments section. How do we deal with this now? I've already shown the red card, and I'm still getting it. There's just no quelling it. It's like there's a flood coming in. I've put the towel under the pissing door, but it's still coming in from orifices. How am I going to stop it?
Bulldog UK said he's still got his red card from Newcastle.
Yeah.
Only to him, he needs it. But what I will say is this: I watched most of those videos. I wasn't able to be there on Sunday, and to be honest with you, with the amount of pushing and shoving, with the way that my arthritis is, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I could have taken it, because one shove, I think I would have been over, and then you would have had it on film, and I'd have been the laughing stock, and you would have got one up on me, and we can't possibly have that now, can we?
Oh, jeez.
But I wasn't able to make it. You're going to have to entertain him for a minute, because that's my door, which we both knew was coming.
Yes, no problem.
No problem.
That's my bother boys coming to sort Toni out, because Red Pill Phil is sick of being abused on his own channel, and he's shown her the red card. She didn't listen. She's carried on. So all I had to do here with the modern wonders of technology is press a button. Yeah, that button has activated a van that's outside Toni Bugle's house, and there's half a dozen geezers there ready to have a good talk with her. Yeah, on schooling Red Pill Phil, packing in. So no, it was in terms of the event at Speaker's Corner. One of the major reasons why I put them videos up is because I'd already done my final thoughts video. I thought I'd laid out all my opinions the way I seen it, and I thought I kind of, you know, didn't do a perfect job, but it was semi-accurate from the way I seen it from my perspective. But don't forget, everyone's got their own perspective, and people were filming it from all different angles. But from what annoyed me most is when I was sent links that was slightly telling me the contrary afterwards. Now, what slightly concerns me is when I do videos and I'm saying, hey guys, this, everyone's rattled and everyone's up for it. And then you've got people on either sides that decide that they're going to come, but they're going to be emotional, they're going to be agitating and agitated, and then react from that. That's putting a lot of people at risk. Now, you can expect that from the contingent of the counter-protest, whoever they may be, Muslim or non-Muslim. You can expect them to give you shit. That's just going to happen. What I don't expect is when you've got men, women that are all running around buzzing, and then they're confronted with just this wall of intimidation that puts everyone in danger. People could have got stamped on. People did get assaulted. Like Toni said, there was a lady that did get hit by one of these Muslim chaps who was quite aggressive, quite big in stature. I'm sorry, Toni?
It was a punch from what I can gather. A
punch, right. So, you know, there's no justification. I was just saying, Toni, in your absence, that basically these guys, what they're doing, they're creating an unsafe environment for people. I mean, look at it this way. You're going to be holding a march in August.
I am.
Now,
August the 20th. Just for
August the 20th, right. So you want predominantly women there, but you're not bothered who goes, but you do want a good contingent of women because the main...
a huge contingent of women.
Right. So we want to change that perception. We want to get people out. Now, I'm a chivalrous guy. The thought of bringing out women to then to be faced by that scares the pissing life out of me. Yeah. Now, Speaker's Corner was a brilliant event. People got over emotional on both sides. Now, it's not a pissing contest, so I'm not saying, well, it's his fault and it's his fault. There was various cases. And we could probably say he's done more, but it's not about that. It's not about scoring points. It's about the outcome. It's about there was many women there, and the scenes of them charging forward and talking the way they was, to me, it's not on.
It was intimidation. And I'll be honest with you, I can speak from previous experience. I've been to Hyde Park myself. And I was actually there with a Muslim woman who had been a victim of Sharia law in this country. And I applaud her bravery for going there. I really do. And at one point, I was surrounded myself. And the abuse, the vile abuse, the things that were said, you know, luckily I'm quite quick-witted, so whatever they came out with, I came back twice as hard. And that made them, and well, you can get angry, but I'm not the one standing surrounding you, insulting you. If you're going to insult me, I'm going to insult you back. It's really that simple. If you can't cope with it, take your girl pants out of the park with the big girls, because you're obviously not ready to play with them. It's that simple. Don't come into the big park if you want to cry like a girl in the little girls' park. But I saw what that was like then, and the intimidation then that they tried to use on me. Now, I was a little bit younger, a little bit fitter and probably could have run a little bit faster. I can't so much anymore, and that's just the way it is. But I would still stand my ground. But yes, on the 20th of August, what I don't want to see is, especially as that Muslim women are going to be with me, and they're not afraid to tell the truth, not just about Sharia law, but about Muslim rape gangs. They're not pulling their punches. Baroness Cox is also going to be there, which I really, I couldn't believe it, because I actually had originally gone for the 25th of August. And she went, can you change that date? I went, why? She said, well, so I can bloody well be there, that's why.
Excellent.
I said, you're going to speak? She went, speak, my girl. She said, I shall be marching with you. I was like, let's go, Coxie. Let's be having it. So, yeah, Baroness Cox is going to be there. Fawzia Rashid is going to be there. I've got another Muslim lady who's going to be there. I've also got an apostate lady who's going to be there. And had it not been for Maria's, there's no telling where she would be right now, because her father was trying to take her out of Pakistan to marry her off. Because to shut her down.
Yeah. Yeah. But if
she left Islam as well, she'd have, well, I think.
I mean, to further your point, Tony, I mean, this is it. This is this, the same intimidation will also work the other way. You know, it's going to stop people within Islam itself wanting to come and speak out, because you can see what happens. You know, so it all rubs off. There's no way. You can see what happens when a Sunni talks to Shia after 5 minutes. It's like, bloody hell. You know, you can't even get a conversation out without wanting to rip each other into shreds.
You see, this is the problem you've got. Sunni don't like Shia. Shia don't like Sunni. Sunni and Shia do not like the Salafi and the Wahhabi. The Wahhabi and the Salafi don't like the Sunni and the Shia. They don't. None of them like the Ahmadi, and all of them hate the Sunni. Well, if you lot can't get your shit together, and then you say to us, no, we, you know, the Shia are good people. No, the Sunni are good people. How do I know which one I'm supposed to trust? Do you know what I mean? You've just realised that that's so true. That
it is. Because if you see that in Western society, I mean, we've got bits of that where, you know, you've got some people that don't like black people. You've got some people that don't. You're going to always get that. You've got some people who don't like Mexicans. You know, some Spanish don't like the Portuguese and all this kind of crap. The Argentinians are not brilliant with the bloody Brazilians. And, you know, it's everyone's kind of, you know, the Indians and the Pakistanis are, you know, everyone's got their own little tribalism thing going on. But the bottom line is that there's got to be an element of tolerance. Otherwise, what have you got? You can't bring anything to the table.
That's why I like Raheel Raza, because Raheel Raza is actually, if I remember rightly, I think she's Sunni, her husband Shia. And they're married, but they practice what they call Sufism, which means that they know all the shit that went on in the 7th century is not acceptable in today's modern times. They live their life very peacefully. They don't go to mosque or imams and all of that. They just get on, they go about their everyday business. They're not a threat to anyone. But she's not afraid to call out Muslim extremists and Islamic extremists. And as she says, we cannot pretend it's not being done in the name of Islam and say that ISIS aren't Islamic, because that's just not true. So I have a lot, and she's got fatwas out on all sorts.
Jesus. That's a brave lady. Very brave lady.
Very courageous. I mean, it's like Baroness Cox. I mean, she's got a fair lumpy price on her head in a few of the countries like Nigeria and Sudan that she's been out to because of her humanitarian aid. She's another lady with a very large price on her head. So these are women who aren't, I mean, Baroness Cox doesn't go in there, sign on the book, take a £300 a day like some of them lazy bastards do. Do you know what I mean? She is earning her money by trying to make a difference. Yeah. Some of the girls that I've helped that have been victims of rape and trafficking have met Baroness Cox through me, which has helped with them writing books, etc. That's how it works. So it's a bit of a tag team going on, you know, between us. And if she can help somebody, she'll help them if she's able to do it. And I have to admire her for that, which is why I'm really glad that she straight away couldn't wait for the opportunity to get out of March with Maria. So Yes, because it's about time we saw, and it's time now that the political elite understood that there are women like her and people like Lord Pearson who are saying enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah. And it's nice to know, even though they'll probably get vilified for it, so bless them for that, for actually standing with organisations. You know, Lord Pearson with the vets, you know, Baroness Cox with yourself. They know what they're doing by doing that. They're walking on the plank. But they're committed to doing what they're doing. You know, Lord Pearson got vilified, didn't he, for having that interview with Tommy Robinson? And it's like, what are you talking about?
Brought it up in the House of Lords, didn't they? And I'm sitting there thinking, so we've got a Brexit to get on with. We've got Sharia law abusing women left, you know, hand over foot. We've got girls being raped in ways that people could never, nor should they ever have to experience. But these girls are going through it. Then they have to endure all the nightmare that comes with it. And what are you concerned about? You're concerned because Tommy Robinson interviewed Lord Pearson in the grounds of the House of Lords or in and around the area.
Yeah, they can't do enough. They've got to build that straw man and vilify to the highest degree, because soon as Tommy or anyone of his ilk gets any credibility, then it will be game over. Well, it will be game over, because once you start turning the tide with normal thinking people and people going, oh, hold on, let me listen to this, then that's when it'll turn the tide of opinion over to us. And they can't have that. So it's quite a desperate and sad act, the way they're doing it. You know, it's almost like an act of desperation, the way they're doing it, because it's so blatant and it's so untrue for anyone who just scratches beneath the surface, you know. So can I just change the subject, Tony? Just because I'm not sure how long we're going to be going, but we've got one more pretty big topic to bring up, which I don't know how I'm going to approach this now.
I'll leave for this one.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to go and deal with what you were dealing with 5 minutes ago? Yeah.
I'm going to sit here and watch the squirm, mate.
Thank you very much for that, Tony. There you go. There you go. That's for you, Tony. Yeah. Whenever you're ready. Right. This next one is regarding what's going to be happening Saturday. I tell you what you could do, Tony, because I've not managed to write it down. The details for the meeting spot for the DFLA. Have you got them at hand by any chance?
Bear with me.
Thank you very much.
I'll get them up while you're doing your bit.
Yeah, you might as well do something.
Well, I don't like to become too useful because you get too lazy. Stop trying it, you know it's coming back at you. Right, do you want the details now?
And she done that without even looking at the screen. Do you know that? She was looking, multitasking, and giving me verbal slaps at the same time. Talented lady. What? Really, you should play an instrument, Tony. Really should.
I do. It's beautiful.
Oh, look, see? Right, I'm not even laughing now. Get off. Get off. Okay. The DFLA is where Tony, I, and the vets will be attending this Saturday in Birmingham. Now, there is going to be another event going on, I do believe. The FLA, they're going to be doing their thing down there. There are reasons why I've personally chose. Tony, you know, has got her own opinions on it. So my opinion is, with what's been going on since the last event, which was in London with the vets, remember all that alliance that was there with the vets? Yeah. There's been lots of allegations of different issues. I'm not going to go into it too much. I've seen various screenshots of conversations. There's been people who are calling for more transparency. And then when they're asking for more transparency and just a bit more openness and explanations as to where certain funds have gone or where they should be going, and commitments of pledges that people have found themselves blocked, and this is people on the inside of the FLA. Now, I'm not castigating anybody. All I'm saying is there does seem to be a lot there that does make you go, Now, I still can't say, well, you're all right. But I do feel that the people that have decided to break away from the FLA have done it because they feel they're doing it out of sheer obligation. The moral compass has kicked in a sense, that if they feel that the movement in which they're following is not honourable, then it's only doomed to fail further down the line. So people have made a certain decision to set up their own, which is going to be more democratic, hence the D on the FLA. So it's the Democratic Football Lads Alliance. Now, it sounds like I've put my stake in one camp. Personally, all I've got to say on the issue, it's up to the leader of the FLA, John, what he wants to do. It's up to him. Me personally, if whether I was guilty or not guilty, if there was so much turbulence being created with an organisation, then in order to save the the credibility of that organisation, I would strongly consider stepping down and putting someone else in there.
Calls before your own ego. That's what I think. And yes, you are right. I have my reasons because, and part of it was because, whereas you're a little bit more, feels a little bit more tactical. I have now my master. I support the veterans 100%. Money was promised to the British Legion. That money was promised back in February. That money has not been received yet. His answer to this has been, I want to do the big check thing. Well, you don't need, you could have handed the money over and done a big check picture at any point.
Yeah, a big check is a ceremony. It's a ceremonial event. It doesn't mean that transactions took place. That transaction could have took place a long time ago.
Exactly. But it's confirmed that they haven't had it. So it has been confirmed by the British Legion. They have not received it. And obviously with the veterans, I've got a lot of respect for the veterans. You know, they gave me a voice when he took my voice away. And what he actually did in doing so by pulling the carpet. Now, I wasn't worried, and I was actually very gracious about it when he did, because I wasn't there to cause an issue. But the truth of it is, Diane Abbott called me a Nazi. You pulling me as a speaker means you think I'm a Nazi. You just confirmed what Diane Abacus has just said.
Yeah, Abacus.
Twat on a cat, can it? You know. And then there was a guy who'd won a boxing belt. Now I don't know how he got it, nor do I care, quite frankly. I went to him. He gave it for auction. It was put up for auction. The guy had paid for it. The money had gone to John. The guy sent the belt to the other guy. John says he knows nothing about it. He then claimed that he had spoken to this guy about this money. I saw the screenshot of the conversation, and his exact words were, "Speak to Jerry." So you didn't have a conversation with him about it. If you can lie about something like that, and it's not about the people who support the FLA. The people who support the FLA don't have an issue with them. Fantastic people, brilliant people, the same as those who support the DFLA. Fantastic people. This is not about the people that follow whatever movement. This is about bad leadership. And it's about disingenuous leadership. It's about dishonest leadership. And it's about the fact that you cannot sit there and think that you are going to stiff the British Legion one way, shape or form or another. And also your accounts don't make sense because they weren't accounts. I saw it. It was a write-up. I could have written it up. A monkey could have written it up. Any idiot could have written it up. Accounts are when you show your accounts. You also set it up as a limited company. It's a business. It's not a charity, but yet I've seen the screenshots where he says, you know, we will be given to charity, we will be given to charity, we will be given to charity, whatever we raise, we give to charity. Well, you gave to one little girl who was dying 300 quid. I'm sorry, I thought that was a bit of an insult. It should have been a lot more. Yes, you gave to Justice for 21, but again, you had to have your arm part of your back to do so. And then you've got the problem with the, you know, the money with the British Legion. And I'm sorry, but things are not ringing true. And unless you're going to be completely and utterly cling film with this stuff and completely see-through, then it's going to keep biting you on the arse. It's that simple. It's going to keep doing it. And the right and just thing to do is put cause and country before self.
I want to put my money and time and passion into something I know that has got honour. I'm not following something that smells a bit funny, but I'll just follow it because they attract a lot of people. And now that is one of the problems that we're going to have now, because people are going to become partisan over this. And by becoming partisan, you're forgetting the message and just standing behind your man. There's no standing behind your man. You've got to go with honour. Now, I don't get why people, for instance, I was in a conversation with a chap and I told him, you know, what decision I was making, where I was going. Now, he mentioned to me that Anne-Marie Waters is going to be speaking at the FLA. Now, he's an Anne-Marie Waters fan. Now, he also knows, because the vets are going to be following the DFLA, that the vets are involved with UKIP. So he's going to go with the FLA because of Anne-Marie Waters. So it's a partisan thing. What's that got to do with that? So you're potentially, I'm not casting aspersions on any organisation, but there's, to a degree, there's no smoke without fire. There's something not right. Something not right. That we can definitely say. So I can't understand why, just because I can't be seen to be going with UKIP, but so I'll just follow, you know, an organisation that could be heading for failure. I hope it doesn't. I hope both parties walk away from this and everything's good. I support the both of them in a sense, but I know which one I'm going to put my heart on, if you know what I mean. And I know which one I'm going to be covering in a sense, because then I can go home at night and not knowing that someone is doing this just to make a profit rather than actually send the message and deliver the message. I mean, don't forget the beginning of the FLA. Remember the Diane Abbott accusations that were coming after, you know, that certain people within FLA had done deals with Diane Abbott and this, that, and the other. And a lot of people were critical of why they didn't go so far in what they were prepared to say about terrorism and this, that, and the other. But like I say, I'm not castigating. I've met John. He's a decent chap. But for me, in any organisation, I don't care what organisation, if enough people are calling for your head, I don't think it's wise to stand there and just stick the fingers up. I really don't. Now, even if
you've got to, you put the cause in your country first.
Yeah.
Yourself. And if you care about your movement that you've built up, and you know you being there is damaging it, and that movement is bigger than any one man, you remove yourself, back row if need be, and you let somebody else take over the driving seat. That's my personal opinion. Now, it's the same with look, with Maria's. I don't ask anybody for anything for her. You know, I don't get donations and I don't ask for them. I do what I do because it's the right thing to do. He needs to do the right thing. Because morally, I'm a moral person and I believe in morals. And as you say, having ethics and loyalty and being true. And when you can sit there and say, unfortunately, you've not been very honest, you have continuously blocked people, you have continuously, anybody who said anything, I mean, young Kelly, on a social media thread, it called her a police plant. That is dangerous. And then he said, nobody knows what you look like. Nobody's ever met you. I said, well, that's funny because I was stood right next to her. I said, in Newcastle. However, where were you, John? Because you weren't there. And I felt like the vets were kind of paraded like the token gesture.
In London.
Then, yeah. And then when it came to Edinburgh and Newcastle, there was a lot of the DFLA lads there. But where were you, John? You weren't there. And I just can't respect it. That's the truth of it. I don't respect it. As I said, I've got no hard feelings towards him. As a person, if I saw him, I'd say hello and I'd say goodbye.
See, I will say this, though, that John may get to see this. You know, he may get to hear about it. Now, I want John and everyone else to know, because I know what John, or I don't know what John, but I'm surmising how John will take this now, and anyone else who maybe is close to John. And it's a fair assumption, let's say. But I feel that the assumption will be Tony Bugle was rejected by the FLA, so now Tony Bugle has got the old red pill round the finger and got him to go with the DFLA. And that is not the case. I've gone with my own brain, common sense and logic. I've heard these stories from various people, not just from Tony. Me and Tony are good friends and we've had long chats about this, but Tony has not been the one to make my mind up. My own conscience has made my mind up. And
we were kind of hoping we were wrong.
Yeah.
In every way,
yeah. Well, let's, if we're going to do it, Tony, how long have we been talking about this? How long have we been talking about this?
Oh, it's got to be since just before the second FLA.
Yeah. And we were saying we were anticipating in December, wasn't we? We was waiting in anticipation for records to come out that would clarify everything. And people wasn't satisfied, and it just moved on. And we both said at the time, we could do videos on this, but we're not going to just start, you know, he said, she said, and this, that, and the other. We're only doing this now because now we have to make a stake and show where we're going.
Because we're going to the DFLA, which I've seen a couple of people saying whereabouts, right, meeting points. So I'll just get in there because I'm like a secretary here. So the meeting point is the old joint stock pump, which the postcode is B25NY. And the afternoon meeting is at St Anne's Club. So as far as I know, I'm trying to see where they're actually. So I would imagine if you get down to where Chinatown car park is, you're right on top of where the actual event's going to take place, because it's not far from there, which I think is in Wrottesley Street, which is B54RT. So if that helps them any, then hopefully that's the job done. The other bit I've got here is for more information. If you're driving, best place to park. So if you're driving down there, best place to park is the Irish Centre Secure Parking all day for £3. It's opposite the Kerryman pub that's been allocated for WHU fans and any other Cockney lads. 14 to 20 High Street, Derry Tend, B12OLN. That's my secretarial skills, and that's about as far as it gets. And the same, don't do secretary very well.
You've done a very good job there, Tony.
Thanks.
I was just about to go make a brew. I thought I'll leave it with this. I'm good with this. I've got some food I can get on. Start peeling some carrots.
Let's talk about food, because I'm sitting in there with a kitchen full of it. Right? As you all know, when I suddenly sculpted off my door when it's because my shopping was being delivered between 8 and 9 and the bugger was still late. So me and you again.
You know what, Tony? What did I say to you when you said that you're just going to have to take charge while they do the shopping? I said we should introduce a game. We could have had a little generation game. Spot the products. And what's the product coming across the screen now?
Well, you could have done, but my kitchen's that way and my front door's that way, so I don't have to come past the computer.
All right.
Carrying you out there like a mobile. just to entertain you with a few tins of tomatoes, a bag of spuds, and a chicken.
I think it's the least you can do, Tony, since I've been violated twice in a row.
There's a razor blade in there. Does that help you?
I think I need it. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So,
no, it's the lady one. So it's for the lady garden area. I don't think you need that one.
No, you know what? I've actually need a new set of blades, but that's another subject. I don't know why I decided to draft off into that, but I've got very coarse hair, so I was just going to reaffirm what you're saying. The lady shaver would not be recommended for me because it would probably carve up my face even more than it already is.
If you're that rough, by the time you finish with it, I'll end up cutting my legs for him. And somebody said on there earlier, these two flirting. They don't know us, do they, Phil?
They don't know. They don't know. The banter. No.
Yeah. Trust me. He's like my brother. That's why I can whip the piss out of him and get away.
Just having a laugh, that's all we do. Just having a little bit of banter.
And his wife's lovely, and she keeps him in line, so, you know.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm off to the shop in a minute. I know I'll be buying certain bars of chocolate for certain people. So.
Okay. Fair play to her, and if you don't do it, I will be checking up, and it'll cost you more.
You
know that I cost you money every time you cock up, Phil. Your red card don't mean shit to me, pal.
I'm gonna get a proper red card. I'm gonna get a red card and write your name on it, Tony, because I've got a feeling it's only ever gonna be yours.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna come out with one that says ref on
it. That's a good point. The next stream we do, I'm gonna wear a referee outfit. I'm gonna have a pissing whistle.
Calling time on me.
Anytime you go overboard.
Did you not see that today? The copper arrested the woman because she was blowing on a little whistle.
Is that what? Say that again.
It was a woman. Now I don't know what this process is, but she's got a musical instrument, looks like a bit like a recorder, but it's a whistle of some sort.
Yeah.
And she was blowing it, and the police told her to stop, and she said no. She wasn't blowing it continuously. She's just sort of tooting on it. So they arrested her.
For what charge? Just disturbing the peace?
Tommy Robinson News says, "Okay, Bugle, I want a photo on Saturday. It's a done deal, but you're going to have to come up and grab me because I know that's not your profile picture, sunshine." Yes, come up, grab me. I don't mean literally, but yeah. You don't literally grab me because I might chin you. No, just no, seriously. Come up and grab my attention. And of course, you can have a picture because he's really supportive to me on social media. That guy, he's pushed out the march. He's trying to get people, women and men involved. He's huge support, actually, huge support. It's really humbling when you get that.
Of course, it is. It keeps you going, and it just lets you know that there's so much work involved. You know, I've got so much admiration for you, Tony, for what you're doing, and I often say to you, I don't know where you get the time, because time for me at this moment in my life is so expensive, but at the same time, there's so many different jobs I have to do in a day. There's still probably a ton weight of comments that I've not even replied to. I've not even gone anywhere near because I can't, because I've been so preoccupied doing other things and talking about things that I didn't really want to talk about, you know, because people just tend to work off emotion. So instead of us talking about the issue, we have to backtrack and start explaining certain situations. So it's like, I don't know how you do it. Fair play to you. Seriously, fair play.
You know what takes it out of me more than anything? When you're helping girls who have been raped, it's very heartbreaking and it's very hard. But knowing that there's a possibility they're going to come out of it at the end of this a survivor, and that's all you can hope for is that you create a survivor. And when you see a young 21-year-old apostate girl whose family didn't know she was an apostate and wanted to marry her off in Pakistan, wanted to take her out of Pakistan, get her into a forced marriage, and that she's self-harming, and you've got her into a safe place. And I must say to everybody who offered me a place for her to stay, we have her in a fantastic place. I couldn't have put her with better people. I knew that they were the right people, and she's safe, which she's fully protected now. she'll be getting all the help she needs. That drives me. That I can't help it. That drives me because I've been that person where nobody gave a shit about. And nobody should ever feel that they're on their own. So whether they're males, I have a lot of men that have contacted me that have either been abused or they're perhaps facing homelessness and possibly being put out on the streets, and they've got a dog and they didn't want the dog out on the streets, and I've helped them. So many different things, but you do it because it's the right thing to do. And that's all you can do. And when you do the right thing, it gives you a sense of, you know, you're a decent person. And that's the best we can hope to be, is decent people.
Well, you're certainly that, Toni. Even though I've never shown a red card so much, so it's probably a contradiction in terms. But
the football game was over an hour ago.
I tell you, if you're in my football team, you'd be at the back of the queue for the way you've treated me. I tell you. No matter how good you are, you could be Ronaldo, and it's like, you ain't playing today, mate.
You would be on the winning team, Sunshine, so don't you?
Oh, look. See how you're a smooth one. You are smooth. You give me slaps over here, and then you stroke me over there. I love it. I do love it. I love the technique. You know, it's the high and low moments, and it's the bit in between. I'm like wondering where it's going to go next. You know, I'm just keeping this card just handy here, just in case.
Keep it handy. Wait till you see what I come on with next time we're on.
If there is a next time, Toni.
Oh, you know there will be.
Yeah, well, honestly, if I start getting this.
You're not going to bring your wife up and get her to do it, do you?
She already does it. She already does it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, but I'll just get her to give you. I'll get her to give you a slap up the ear roll for leaving me out. Do you know what I mean?
Well, she doesn't have to slap me. She just does what normal women do and just make me feel like crap when you know what I mean? And it's like the psychological stuff.
It's an art. We're taken aside in school, you know. It's like going to finishing school. How to make a man feel like an arsehole in 3 seconds.
Exactly.
But then you're also taught skills when it comes to women. So don't, you know, let's not play innocent here.
I don't know what you mean by that, Toni. What are you trying to say there? Is that another video about to come out?
Oh, we'll leave that one for next time.
We'll leave that for next time. So, where can people reach you, Toni Agitator?
Toni the Agitator, and apparently the police plant as well. I got called that last week. That was interesting. Funny. But yeah, so you can find me on Twitter on @DICS131294. We haven't got Phil on that yet, but that's coming.
You know what?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook under Toni Bugle.
You done exactly the same thing the last time. You waited till the end of the show, and then you did. You're doing it again. You're doing it again.
I'll see you on Twitter.
Relentless. I don't know what I've got to do. I really don't know what I've got to do. I feel I need to mute your microphone and just open it at certain times just to quell what's coming through.
You don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, so there's no point in me doing that. Because I never tell you when it's coming. It's like it's unexpected there, love. You know,
I don't know what I'm going to do here now. I've just I've set some up.
Well, I think that your kids would appreciate £2 for every person that asked you to get on Twitter as well. You know, so I think everybody should now start going onto your videos, and when they comment and they put their positive comments and everything, end it with "see you on Twitter." And for every one of the people that says "see you on Twitter," your girls get £2 each.
That's what they call a dead silence, that, Toni. Did you hear that?
Along with the dead smile.
I tell you.
You also
I'm going to have to change my bank account.
You know this.
Right. I'm officially ending this stream now because it's gone there again. It's gone. We're only having good banter for anyone who's probably getting confused and think, why are them two having a piece of each other every 5 minutes? So it's supposed to be on.
Seriously, they think there's flirting going on here. You know,
a flirty, agitating, kind of verbal slaps, kind of, you know, I'll put you in your place thing going on there.
No, what they said was, Tommy Robinson News says, get on Twitter, Phil. Your vid had thousands of views on my Twitter.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
See, now he's connected. Somebody else put, Phil, get on Twitter. Tony wants, no, Tony really doesn't, Rectibus, but the fact that you've got a name like that is slightly worrying. To love, hearts to you, Phil, Tony, and everyone. So there you go, and you're getting all the loves now. I'm going to have to teach him. Apparently, I'm a legend. You're a legend. Somebody's put, he's only just got on Facebook.
I know. Yeah, this is what I mean. And I've not even used it. I've not set up a profile. And I think you alerted me that I've not set it up for sharing or something like that. Is that what you were saying?
Actually,
because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it out of sheer rush because I'm being blackmailed to do it. That I've got to hand over my frigging week's wages to my kids if I don't go on social media. And then I do it to appease my lovely friend Toni Bugle. And then the next time we go on a stream, I give her the red card and then she's off again. And then this is after I'm promoting her. And I'm actually saying, Toni, where can people reach you, Toni? Because I want people to love you, Toni.
They can reach me exactly where they're going to be able to reach you on Facebook and on Twitter. But they can go to marias.org.uk, which is my website as well. And they can email me from that website.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Toni. Okay. I'm so lucky. I'm going to change the subject now because I don't know where to go with this now, apart from, you know, I don't know where to go. So what are you looking forward to most with Saturday?
So I'm looking forward to seeing the vets. I'm really looking forward to that. And obviously having a good catch up with people. I'm looking for a positive vibe. I don't want to see a negative vibe. You know, when we was in Newcastle, when we had the women singing when the Saints go marching in, it was fantastic. There was such a positivity to it. So it would be fantastic to see that positivity. I'm really looking forward to that. I am.
Do you think there'll be a lot of women that will come out to the DLFA?
Well, I hope so. It would be good to see. It would be really good to see a huge number of women out there. But if not, they sure as hell better get their backsides out to the Maria's March on the 20th of August, because there can be no more. We cannot keep sitting back and letting the men be the ones to do all of the fighting. You know, we've got to get up off our bums. And not only that, it's good for our figures.
Without a doubt.
But I'll tell everyone that it's bullshit, because I mean, look at mine. I'm like a figure 8, so it's crap. But I'll tell you all that if it works and it gets them there.
Toni, you look fantastic as ever, and you're mentally frigging on it. Frigging hell, you've got the mind of Arnold Schwarzenegger the way you go on. You know what I mean? Jesus, I don't know what to do here. I think I need some kind of pre-injection I need to give you before we go on a live stream to give myself a break. It's like, you know, One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest, where Jack Nicholson, he come in all kind of all bullish and yeah, I've got away with it all, and he goes out, you know, after a couple of weeks of the medication, he just slows him right down. I feel you need a bit of that at times, Toni. I mean, I'm struggling to. I mean, I don't know how many red cards. A red card means a red card, but that's not stopping you. Yeah, that's probably like a red flag to a ball.
A red flag to a ball, mate.
I tell you. So it's the wrong pissing colour.
A much more calm, neutral colour.
Ah, it's more of a pastel-y, bluey colour like that.
No, that won't work either.
That won't work either.
I mean, you're the painter and decorator.
I am. I need to bring a colour chart, don't I? That's what I need to do. Get a colour
chart, and I'll tell you which one calms me down.
Yeah. Well, that triggers you. So what can I say, Toni? As ever, it's been an absolutely brilliant stream. Enjoyed your company. Is there anything you'd like to say before we call it a day?
Yes, please be there in Birmingham, okay? Whether you're with the FLA, with the DFLA, the veterans, we will be with the DFLA, we will be with the veterans. That's where you're going to find us. So if you want to come along and meet me and Phil, brilliant, because I'm going to be stuck to him like glue, because we want to get some good shots, hopefully, as in fisticuff shots on each other. So please, everybody who can be there, be there. And if you can't make that one, please do make the 20th of August, Downing Street to Westminster, Maurice, the march with Maurice. So
no, I'd second that. I'd totally second that. I mean, for me, try and get yourself down there. If you can't make it, obviously, between Tony's channel and my channel, there'll be as much information up there as to what had gone on the day. Other than that, it's a case of everyone be safe, because we don't know what's going to be down there. You know, there's going to be some counter protest. So I'm hoping that there's not been any fuel on the fire that's been added from Speaker's Corner. You know, the same attitude, the agitation that's just handed over to that. If it has, I implore everyone just to have the attitude of Martin Luther King and just don't get involved. Although as frustrating as it is, just walk on by. You know, there's a level of what you can call interaction, and then it becomes confrontation. So you just got to be aware of the two and not conflate the two, because these guys are going to do what they can to get under your skin, and that's their whole point.
Sing top of your voices, that's your best bet.
Yeah.
The more you get agitated, sing louder.
Yeah. And just don't get involved. Stay away from them. Keep true to what the cause is. Because if you slip from them lines, it kind of makes it worse and more unsafe for everyone in the long run on future marches. The straw men's just being stacked up. So I'm hoping I'm over-dramatising, and I'm hoping the event's just going to go off perfectly. I can't wait to meet all the vets. Can't wait to see Toni up there again. And all the rest of the guys that I normally go up there travelling with. We're going up on a train this week. Half a dozen of us are all going up, so it'll be great to spend some time with them guys. Hope the weather's good. That's another big factor. We do need a nice, dry, mild day.
None of the snow. We don't want none of that snow, that white stuff. That's terribly racist, that stuff, isn't it?
Hey, well, it is. I mean, we don't need it. You know, we'll have to get it all put into a safe space somewhere.
Get rid of it. You know, you go get rid of it. It's white, born racist, get rid of it. So the minute you drop it out of the sky, it's racist anyway. So.
Well, I think to counteract it, I think someone should break up a load of charcoal and sprinkle that round evenly. And then we've got a mixture of the white and black, and then no one can complain then, can they?
I think that's a really good idea. So next time I see you, you bring the snow, I'll bring the charcoal, because I'm carrying nothing cold.
See how have even that? See, why? You're so like my wife. You find a way of slapping, even when you've no reason to do it. You just can't help yourself.
It's because I live life to the full. You've got to live it, love it, laugh at it.
You see an opportunity, and it's like, yeah, while he's there, while he's bending down, and I'll take that. No, as ever, I love these conversations that we have, Toni, and I love our interaction and our little bit of banter. I hope people can get it and not see that we're, you know, whatever. We're taking.
Oh, if they don't get it tough, they can live with it.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh, right.
So I'd like to say you've been watching redpillphil along with Toni Bugle. redpillphil on YouTube. Like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed it all. And I'd like to say, I can't wait to see you up there on Saturday at this march, which will be the DFLA in Birmingham. I will be putting a little, maybe try and get a video out just before. And I'll put any links up that's relevant, any information that's relevant as well. So thank you very much for taking the time out to watch, guys. And I will say from me, it's bye from Toni.
And it's goodbye from him too.
Okay.
Awesome, nice men. All right, I'm going now.
Go and sort your shopping out. Go on.
Bye.
Nice one. Thanks a lot. Right, see you later, guys. You take care. I love you all, even the pissing haters. See you all. God bless. See you Saturday.